The Great Hall of the Galactic Council stood silent as the final vote was counted. Admiral Lisa Morgan watched the holographic display from her command chair aboard the space station high above Earth. The numbers glowed red against the dark screen. Humans were being kicked out of Council space forever. Lisa closed her eyes and took a deep breath. She had known this day might come. The other alien races had always been afraid of humans. They said humans grew too fast, built too many ships, and asked too many questions. The Council wanted peace and order. Humans brought change and chaos. The communication screen lit up with an incoming message. A beautiful elven woman appeared on the display. Her long silver hair fell past her shoulders and her green eyes looked sad. This was HFY Starweaver, one of the few council members who had voted against the exile. Admiral Morgan, HFY said quietly. "I'm sorry I tried to stop this, but there were not enough votes. The council is afraid of your people." Lisa nodded. "Thank you for trying, Princess Starweaver. How long do we have?" 30 days to leave all council space. All human colonies, all military bases. Everything must go. HFY looked around to make sure no one was listening. "Lisa, I want you to know that not all of us agree with this decision. Some of us think humans could teach the galaxy new ways to live and grow." The connection ended, and Lisa was alone with her thoughts. She looked out at the blue planet below. Earth was beautiful, but it was no longer safe. The Council had made their choice, and now humanity had to make theirs. Captain Amy Rodriguez knocked on the door and entered the command center. She was young but brave, one of the best ship commanders in the human fleet. Her dark hair was pulled back and her brown eyes showed determination. "Admiral, I have the evacuation reports," Amy said. "We have 512 ships ready to carry our people. Dr. Kate Williams is organizing the civilian transports. Commander Maya Foster is handling military logistics." Lisa turned to face her captain. "How many people can we save?" 12 million if we pack the ships tight. We will have to leave everything else behind." Amy's voice was steady, but Lisa could hear the pain underneath. "The Council is already sending their enforcement fleets to make sure we leave on time. What about our colonies on the outer worlds?" Lisa asked. "Maya is sending fast ships to evacuate them first. The colonies closest to Council space have to be abandoned in the next few days." Amy handed Lisa a datapad. "Kate wants to document everything. She says we need proof of what the Council did to us." Lisa looked at the evacuation lists. Millions of names scrolled past. These were her people and she had failed to protect them. But she would not give up. If the Council wanted humans gone, then humans would leave, but they would come back stronger. Dr. Kate Williams entered the command center carrying a large case full of data storage devices. She was the chief scientist of the human fleet and one of the smartest people Lisa knew. Her red hair was messy from working all night and her blue eyes were tired but focused. "Admiral, I have been talking to some of the alien scientists who work with humans," Kate said. "Not all species support the Council's decision. There is an elven scientist named Ariana Silverdawn who wants to help us. She thinks humans have good ideas that could help everyone." "Can we trust her?" Lisa asked. "I believe so. She has been sharing scientific data with our researchers for years. She says there are others like her who think the Council is making a mistake." Maya Foster walked into the room. She was Lisa's military commander and one of the toughest fighters in the human fleet. Her black hair was cut short and her green eyes were always watching for threats. She carried herself like a soldier, but Lisa knew she also cared deeply about their people. "Admiral, we have a problem," Maya said. "Our long-range sensors are picking up something strange. There are massive energy readings coming from the uncharted. Space beyond Council territory. Whatever is out there is big and powerful." Lisa studied the sensor data Maya handed her. The energy signatures were unlike anything humans had ever seen. They were old, very old, and they pulsed with strange rhythms that seemed almost alive. "Could it be another alien civilization?" Amy asked. "Maybe," Kate said, looking at the readings. "But these patterns are different from anything in Council databases. This technology is either very advanced or very ancient." Lisa made her decision. "If the Council wants us out of their space, then we go somewhere they have never been. Maya, prepare the fleet for departure to the unknown regions. Amy, you will command our lead ships. Kate, I want you to study everything we can learn about what is waiting for us out there. The next 30 days passed quickly. Human ships filled with families, soldiers, scientists, and workers launched from every planet and space station. The Great Evacuation Fleet formed up beyond Earth's moon. Children pressed their faces to viewing ports to get one last look at their home world. Lisa stood on the bridge of her flagship as the massive fleet prepared to jump to hyperspace. Amy's ship led the way while Maya's warships protected the civilians. Kate's science vessels carried all of human knowledge and culture. The last ship to leave Earth orbit was an elven courier. Lyrelay Starweaver appeared on Lisa's communication. Screen one final time. The Council thinks they have solved their human problem, Lyrelay said. But I think they have just created something much more dangerous. Humans who have nothing left to lose are the most dangerous humans of all. Lisa smiled grimly. Princess, when we meet again, it will be as equals or not at all. The communication ended, and Lisa gave the order. 512 ships jumped into hyperspace, heading for the unknown. Behind them, Earth grew smaller until it was just another star. Ahead of them lay mystery, danger, and perhaps the future of humanity. The exile had begun, but Lisa Morgan knew it would not end with humans hiding in the dark corners of space. They would build something new out there, something the Galactic Council had never imagined. And someday, they would return to show the galaxy what humans could really do when they were free to be themselves. The human fleet dropped out of hyperspace in a region of space no Council ship had ever explored. Strange red stars cast eerie light across the void, while massive gas clouds swirled in impossible colors. Lisa Morgan stood on the bridge of her flagship studying the sensor readings. They had traveled far from Council space, but they were not alone. Admiral, we have contacts, Amy Rodriguez reported from her command ship. Multiple vessels approaching from the third planet. They do not match any known Council designs. Lisa watched as alien ships emerged from behind a large asteroid field. These vessels were built for war with thick armor and heavy weapons. Sharp spikes jutted from their hulls, and they moved like predators hunting prey. This is Admiral Lisa Morgan of the human fleet, she broadcast on all frequencies. We come in peace and seek safe passage through your territory. The response came quickly in a harsh voice that sounded like grinding metal. Humans, this is war leader Zarathek of the Saurian Dominion. You have entered our hunting grounds without permission. Prepare to be tested in combat or leave immediately. Lisa looked at Maya Foster, who was monitoring the tactical situation. Maya shook her head slightly. The human fleet was tired from the long journey, and many of their ships carried civilians. They could not afford a major battle. War leader Zarathek, Lisa replied. We are refugees seeking a new home. We have no quarrel with your people. All who enter Saurian space must prove their worth in battle, came the reply. This is our way. Send your best warrior to face mine in single combat. If you win, you may pass. If you lose, you leave or die. Amy's voice came over the private channel. Admiral, I volunteer for the combat trial. Negative, Captain. I will handle this myself, Lisa said. But before either of them could respond, another voice cut into the communication. I will fight for the humans. It was Zarathek herself. I am curious about these new aliens. Send your champion to my ship. Lisa made a quick decision. Captain Rodriguez, you have command of the fleet. I am going aboard the Saurian vessel. The transport shuttle carried Lisa across the dark space between the fleets. The Saurian ship was even more impressive up close. Its hull was covered in battle scars and weapon ports. When Lisa entered the docking bay, she saw her first Saurian. Zarathek was tall and powerful, with green-scaled skin and yellow eyes that seemed to glow in the dim light. She wore armor made from the bones of some great beast and carried weapons that looked both primitive and deadly, but when she spoke, Lisa heard intelligence beneath the warrior's mask. You are brave to come here alone, human female, Zarathek said. I expected your males to do the fighting. In human culture, anyone can be a warrior, Lisa replied. Male or female, we fight for what we believe in. Zarathek seemed pleased by this answer. Good. I grow tired of species where only the males have courage. We will fight with blade weapons. First blood wins. The combat arena was a circular space surrounded by watching Saurian warriors. Lisa drew the plasma sword from her belt while Zarathek wielded a curved blade that crackled with energy. They circled each other slowly. "Why did you leave council space?" Zarathek asked as they fought. "They feared us," Lisa replied, blocking a powerful strike. "They said we grew too fast and changed too much." "The council fears everything that might threaten their control," Zarathek said, pressing her attack. "That is why we left their space long ago." The battle was fierce but brief. Lisa was skilled, but Zarathek was stronger and more experienced. The Saurian's blade found its mark, drawing a thin line of blood across Lisa's arm. But instead of declaring victory, Zarathek stepped back with respect in her eyes. "You fight well for someone who has never faced a Saurian warrior," she said. "I think your people and mine might understand each other." Back on the flagship, Lisa met with her senior officers to discuss the encounter. Dr. Kate Williams had been monitoring Saurian communications and had interesting news. "Admiral, I have been analyzing their technology," Kate said. "The Saurians are not as primitive as they appear. Their weapons and ships use principles that are actually quite advanced. They just prefer designs that look traditional." "What about their society?" Amy asked. "Warrior culture, but with strong codes of honor," Kate explained. "Zarathek seems to be their leader, and she is impressed by our willingness to fight alongside our evacuation fleet. Most species would have sent only military vessels to meet them." Before Lisa could respond, Maya burst into the meeting room. "Admiral, we have another situation. Long-range sensors are detecting massive objects heading our way. These are not ships. They look more like energy beings." The main screen lit up with sensor data showing creatures made of pure crystalline light approaching the fleet. They moved through space without ships, their bodies pulsing with power that made human instruments struggle to measure them. "This is getting complicated," Amy muttered. The crystal beings surrounded several human ships in what looked like glowing cages of energy. Dr. Kate Williams studied the phenomenon while trying to communicate with the entities. "They seem to be trying to communicate through direct mental contact," Kate reported. "But our minds cannot handle their thought patterns. The crews of the trapped ships are reporting strange dreams and visions." Lisa made another difficult decision. "Kate, take a team to the nearest trapped ship. Use whatever protection you can devise. We need to understand what these beings want." Kate's shuttle approached the energy cage carefully. As soon as she entered the glowing field, her mind was flooded with alien thoughts. She saw visions of ancient civilizations, technological wonders beyond human imagination, and a deep sadness that seemed to come from the crystal beings themselves. When she returned to the flagship, Kate's eyes were wide with wonder and fear. "Admiral, they call themselves the Etherians. They have been watching our fleet since we entered this region. They are testing us to see if we are worthy of knowledge they guard." "What kind of knowledge?" Lisa asked. "Technology left behind by an ancient race called the Architects. The Etherians have been protecting it for millions of years, waiting for a species that could use it wisely." Through Kate's efforts, the humans established communication with the lead Etherian, a being who identified herself as Vexilia. Her thoughts were like music made of light, and her presence felt both alien and strangely comforting. "Your species shows promise," Vexilia communicated directly into their minds. "You face the unknown with courage, and you protect the weak among you. These are rare qualities in the galaxy." But before negotiations could continue, alarms began sounding throughout the fleet. Rebecca Stone, the chief engineer, reported a new crisis. "Admiral, we are detecting massive temporal distortions throughout this system. Space itself is becoming unstable." Amy's tactical display showed the problem clearly. The combination of Saurian weapon tests, Etherian energy fields, and the mysterious ancient ruins on the nearby planet were creating dangerous interactions. If they did not act quickly, the entire fleet could be torn apart by warping space-time. "Zarathek, Vexilia," Lisa broadcast to both alien leaders. "Our presence here is causing dangerous instabilities. We need to work together, or we will all be destroyed." For the first time in recorded history, Saurian warriors and Etherian energy beings cooperated to solve a common problem. Under Rebecca Stone's direction, they used their combined technologies to stabilize the space distortions. The process took hours and required precise coordination between three completely different types of technology. When the crisis ended, something had changed. The three species had worked together and succeeded where any one of them would have failed alone. Zarathek looked at the humans with new respect, while Vexilia's thoughts carried warmth that had not been there before. Perhaps, Zarathek said, slowly, the Saurian Dominion has been alone too long. Your people fight well and think quickly. This is good. Vexilia's mental voice was softer now. The Etherians have guarded ancient secrets for eons. Maybe it is time to share them with those who would use them to protect rather than conquer. Lisa felt a spark of hope for the first time since leaving Earth. The exile had led them to potential allies instead of enemies, but she also sensed that larger challenges lay ahead. The ancient ruins on the planet below still pulsed with unknown energy, and somewhere out there, the Galactic Council might already be planning to follow them into the unknown regions. We have much to learn from each other, Lisa said to her new alien allies. But first, we need to find a safe place to build a new home. The three fleets moved deeper into unexplored space, no longer as strangers, but as the beginning of something that had never existed before in the galaxy. 3 months after the first contact with the Saurians and Etherians, the human fleet had found a new home. The planet they named Haven was rich in minerals and had breathable air for humans. Crystal formations provided energy that the Etherians could use while vast hunting grounds satisfied the Saurian need for territory. For the first time since leaving Earth, children played outside under an alien sun. Lisa Morgan stood in the command center of the growing space station above Haven. Through the windows, she could see human, Saurian, and Etherian ships working together to build defenses. It still amazed her how quickly the three species had learned to cooperate. Dr. Kate Williams entered carrying a data pad with concerning news. Admiral, I just received a coded message from Ariana Silverdawn that Elven scientist I told you about. The Galactic Council is planning something called a pacification force. They want to eliminate what they call the human threat permanently. Before Lisa could respond, alarms sounded throughout the station. Captain Amy Rodriguez's voice came over the communication system from her patrol ship. Admiral, we have multiple contacts dropping out of hyperspace at the edge of the system. These are not Council ships. The design is completely unknown. Lisa hurried to the main display where Maya Foster was analyzing the sensor data. The new ships were sleek and organic-looking, almost like they had been grown rather than built. They moved with fluid grace that was beautiful and somehow unsettling. Attempting to establish communication, Kate reported. A moment later, her face lit up with excitement. Admiral, you are going to want to hear this yourself. The main screen flickered and showed the bridge of one of the unknown vessels. Standing there was Princess Lyrali Starweaver, but she was not alone. Behind her stood dozens of elven officers wearing uniforms that Lisa did not recognize. Admiral Morgan, Lyrali said with a slight smile, I hope you do not mind unexpected visitors. I have brought some friends who disagree with the Council's policies. Lisa felt relief flood through her. Princess Starweaver, you are always welcome here. But what are you doing so far from Council space? The Council has branded me a traitor for speaking against the human exile, Lyrali explained. They ordered me to recant my statements or face exile myself. So I chose exile, and I brought everyone who agreed with me. Amy's voice cut into the conversation. How many ships are we talking about, Princess? 47 vessels carrying 12,000 elven military personnel and their families, replied a new voice. The speaker was another elven woman with short golden hair and intense blue eyes. I am Fleet Commander Celestine Moonwhisper. Adults, ships, and crews are at your disposal. Lisa made a quick decision. Princess Commander, welcome to Haven. We have much to discuss. The first joint meeting between humans, Saurians, Etherians, and now elves took place in the main conference room of Haven Station. Lisa looked around the table at the diverse group of beings who had somehow become allies. Zarathek spoke first, her scaled hands gesturing as she talked. The Council grows desperate if they are planning open war against refugees. This confirms what Saurian scouts have reported from the border regions. Vexilia's thoughts flowed into everyone's minds like cool water. The Etherians sense great disturbance in the energy fields that connect all living things. Something approaches that will test everything we have built here. Lyrali leaned forward. The Council is mobilizing the largest fleet in galactic history. Over 1,000 ships, including the Dreadnought Annihilator. They plan to invade this region and destroy every human settlement they find. When? Maya asked. 6 months, maybe less, Celestine replied. But they also face internal problems. Many member species are questioning whether the human exile was justified. Some are even considering leaving the Council. Dr. Kate Williams had been studying data on her portable device. We have advantages they do not expect. Rebecca Stone and I have been working with Etherian energy technology and Saurian weapon designs. We are developing defensive systems that combine the best of all our technologies. Over the following weeks, Haven became a center of activity unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Human engineers worked alongside Saurian weapon masters, while Etherian energy shapers taught Elven scientists new ways to manipulate matter and space. The cooperation was not always smooth, but progress was rapid. Rebecca Stone stood in the main engineering bay, watching teams from 4 different species install hybrid systems into their ships. The technology they were creating combined human adaptability, Saurian durability, Etherian energy control, and Elven precision. The results were beyond what any single species could have achieved alone. "Rebecca, you need to see this," called Ariana Silverdawn, the Elven scientist who had defected to join Kate's research team. She was young even by Elven standards, with silver hair and green eyes that sparkled with curiosity. "We have made a breakthrough with the ancient ruins you found." The ruins on Haven's largest continent were clearly the remains of some vast civilization that had existed long before any current galactic species had achieved spaceflight. The architecture was strange and beautiful, with curves and angles that seemed to shift when viewed from different positions. "What did you find?" Rebecca asked, as they descended into the main excavation site. "The ruins are not just buildings," Ariana explained excitedly. "They are some kind of massive machine or computer system, and Kate thinks it is still partially active." Dr. Kate Williams was deep underground in a chamber filled with crystalline structures that pulsed with soft light. She looked up as Rebecca and Ariana approached. "This technology is incredibly advanced," Kate said. "It uses principles that we do not fully understand yet, but Vexilia and her people have been able to interface with some of the systems." "What do they do?" Rebecca asked. "As far as we can tell, they were designed to monitor and guide the development of younger species," Kate replied. "The builders, whoever they were, seem to have been watching the galaxy for millions of years." "Watching for what?" "Species that could work together instead of fighting each other," Ariana said. "I think our alliance is exactly what they were hoping to see." Meanwhile, training exercises were taking place in the orbital defense platforms around Haven. Maya Foster watched as mixed crews of humans, Saurians, elves, and even some Etherians learned to operate their new hybrid weapon systems. Captain Amy Rodriguez commanded one of the test flights, her ship crewed by both humans and elves. "Maya, these new targeting systems are incredible," Amy reported. "The elven precision combined with human reflexes gives us accuracy we never had before." From another ship, Celestine Moonwhisper added her own observations. "Human tactical thinking is very different from what we were taught in the Council military. More flexible, more willing to take risks. I think our people can learn much from each other." Maya smiled as she watched the 2 ship commanders work together. There was clearly more than professional respect developing between Amy and Celestine, and Maya thought that might be exactly what their growing alliance needed. But not everything was proceeding smoothly. In the civilian sections of Haven Station, some humans were beginning to question Lisa's leadership. A group led by a woman named Patricia Barnes had started holding meetings where they criticized the alliances with alien species. "We left Earth to escape alien control," Barnes argued, to a crowd of concerned families. "Now Admiral Morgan wants us to merge our technology and our military with these creatures. How is that different from what the Council wanted?" Lisa knew about the protests, but chose to address them directly rather than ignore them. She called a general assembly in the main auditorium where anyone could speak. "I understand your concerns," Lisa said to the gathered crowd. "We all lost our homes because the Council feared what humanity might become, but hiding in fear is not the answer. We have found allies who respect our independence while offering their friendship." Patricia Barnes stood up in the audience. "Admiral, how do we know these aliens will not betray us like the Council did? How can we trust beings who are so different from us?" Before Lisa could answer, Zarathek entered the auditorium. The Saurian war leader was an imposing figure, but she moved, carefully to avoid frightening the human civilians. "Human Barnes," Zarathek said in her deep voice, "you speak of trust, as if it is given freely. Trust is earned through action. Your people earned Saurian respect by fighting bravely and keeping their word. We judge beings by what they do, not what they look like." Vexilia's mental voice touched everyone in the room. "Fear of the different has caused much pain in the galaxy, but when beings choose to work together despite their differences, they become stronger than any who stand alone." Princess Lyrelay stepped forward as well. "I gave up my position in the Council because I believed humans deserved better treatment. My people and I chose exile rather than support injustice. We are here because we want to build something better than what we left behind." The assembly ended with most humans convinced that the alliance was their best hope for survival and growth. But Lisa knew that some doubts remained and that their unity would be tested when the Council fleet arrived. As if summoned by her thoughts, alarms began sounding throughout the station. Maya's voice came over the communication system with urgency. "Admiral, long-range sensors are detecting massive hyperspace disturbances approaching from Council space. It looks like they are coming early." Lisa looked out at the ships of 4, different species patrolling around Haven. In 6 months, they had built something unprecedented in galactic history. Now they would find out if it was strong enough to survive. The Council invasion fleet emerged from hyperspace like a dark storm covering the stars. Admiral Lisa Morgan watched from Haven Station's command center as over 800 enemy ships took positions throughout the system. The massive dreadnought Annihilator moved slowly toward the planet, its weapon arrays already charging for bombardment. "All Alliance vessels to battle stations," Lisa commanded. "This is what we have prepared for." Captain Amy Rodriguez flew her ship alongside Fleet Commander Celestine Moonwhisper as they led the first defensive wave. The months of training together had created a bond between the human and elven crews that went beyond mere cooperation. Amy could predict Celestine's tactical decisions, while Celestine had learned to match Amy's aggressive fighting style. "Amy, take your squadron through the asteroid field," Celestine suggested over the communication channel. "My ships will provide covering fire from above." "Understood, Celestine," Amy replied. "Try to keep up with us." The first battle began when Council fighters attempted to establish orbital supremacy around Haven. Alliance ships met them using hybrid technology that the Council had never encountered before. Human vessels enhanced with Etherian energy shields proved nearly impossible to damage, while Saurian warships armed with elven targeting systems achieved devastating accuracy. War leader Zarathek commanded her battle group from the front lines as always. Her ships fought with Saurian ferocity, but used human tactical flexibility to outmaneuver larger Council vessels. "Admiral Morgan," she reported, "the enemy expected to face primitive refugees. They are learning otherwise." Dr. Kate Williams coordinated the defense from Haven Station's Science Center, while Vexilia used her mental abilities to link the minds of Alliance commanders across vast distances. For the first time in galactic history, multiple species fought as one coordinated force. "Kate, the Council is jamming our normal communications," reported Rebecca Stone from the engineering section. "But Vexilia's psychic network is giving us an advantage they cannot counter." The battle raged for 3 days across multiple planets and moons in the Haven system. Commander Maya Foster led ground forces defending the mining colonies, while Saurian warriors fought alongside human marines. The cooperation that had seemed impossible months ago now felt natural under the pressure of combat. On the second day, Princess Lyrelay received a communication from the Council fleet commander. The image that appeared on her screen showed an elderly alien with the formal robes of High Council rank. "Princess Starweaver," the Council commander said, "you have been declared a traitor to galactic order. Surrender yourself and your followers, and we will show mercy to the human refugees." Lyrelay's response was calm but firm. "Commander, I renounce my titles in the Galactic Council. I am now a citizen of the alliance we have built here. Your threats mean nothing to people who have chosen freedom over fear." The Council commander's expression hardened. Then you will share the fate of the humans you defend. But as the battle continued, it became clear that the Council had underestimated their opponents. Alliance ships were not only holding their ground, but winning most engagements. The hybrid technology proved superior to pure Council designs, while the multi-species crews worked together with efficiency that amazed even their own commanders. Amy and Celestine found themselves in the most dangerous mission of the war when they volunteered to infiltrate the Council supply depot at Zerion Prime. Their combined fleet of human and elven ships had to travel deep into enemy territory while avoiding Council patrols. "The supply depot is heavily defended," Celestine warned as they approached their target. "If we fail, the entire Alliance fleet will run out of ammunition within days." "Then we do not fail," Amy replied with characteristic human determination. "The attack on Zerion Prime required perfect coordination between human daring and elven precision." Amy's ships drew the attention of the defenders, while Celestine's vessels used their superior stealth technology to approach the depot's weak points. When the attack began, it was over in minutes. "Direct hit on the main ammunition storage," Amy reported with satisfaction. "That should slow down their advance." "Amy, you fight like a Saurian warrior," Celestine said with what sounded like admiration. "And you plan like a human strategist," Amy replied. "We make a good team." But the real turning point of the war came when Dr. Kate Williams and Ariana Silver Dawn made a breakthrough with the ancient ruins on Haven. Working together, the human and elven scientists had finally learned to activate some of the mysterious technology left by the long-vanished builders. "Admiral, you need to see this," Kate called excitedly from the excavation site. Deep underground, the crystalline structures were now pulsing with bright energy. Strange symbols appeared in the air above the ancient machines while harmonic vibrations filled the chamber. "What is it doing?" Lisa asked as she joined Kate and Ariana in the main control room. "As far as we can determine, it is some kind of defensive system," Ariana explained. "The builders designed it to protect developing civilizations from aggressive conquerors." Vexilia floated into the chamber, her crystalline form glowing brighter than usual. "The Ancient Ones speak to us across time," she said in her mental voice. "They approve of what we have built here. The machine will help us." The effect was immediate and dramatic. Every Council ship in the Haven system suddenly found their weapon systems disabled. Their engines still worked, but they could no longer fire at Alliance vessels or bombard the planet below. "What happened to our weapons?" demanded the Council fleet commander over the emergency communication channel. "Commander," Lisa replied calmly, "you are facing technology that is older and wiser than anything in your fleet. The ancient builders of this system left Guardians to protect those who would unite rather than conquer, but even with their weapons disabled, the Council fleet was not ready to surrender. The massive Dreadnought Annihilator began charging its main cannon, a weapon so powerful that it could destroy entire planets. "Admiral," Maya reported from the tactical center, "that ship is too large for the ancient defenses to stop completely. If it fires its main weapon, Haven will be destroyed." Lisa made the hardest decision of her life. "All Alliance vessels, prepare for ramming attack on the Dreadnought. We stop that ship or we lose everything." But before the desperate attack could begin, new contacts appeared on the sensors. Ships were dropping out of hyperspace throughout the system, but these were not Council reinforcements. "Admiral," Amy called from her patrol ship, "we have incoming vessels from multiple species. They are broadcasting Alliance identification codes. The newcomers were rebels and dissidents from dozens of Council member species who had finally decided to openly oppose the authoritarian government. They had been inspired by news of the alliance between humans, Saurians, Etherians, and elves. "This is Captain Nor Asha of the Hydran Collective," came a new voice over the communication system. The speaker was clearly aquatic, her words bubbling slightly as she spoke. "We have come to join your alliance and fight for freedom." More voices joined the communication channel as ship after ship declared their intention to switch sides. The Council fleet suddenly found themselves outnumbered by their former allies. Faced with overwhelming opposition and useless weapons, the Council commander finally accepted reality. "Admiral Morgan," he said formally, "the Galactic Council fleet withdraws from this system, but this war is not over." As the battered Council ships retreated toward their own territory, Lisa stood on the observation deck of Haven Station, surrounded by her senior officers and allies. Amy and Celestine stood close together, their professional partnership clearly becoming something deeper. Kate and Vexillia communicated in the mixed verbal and mental language they had developed. Even Maya had found companionship with a Saurian warrior diplomat named Kethara. "We won this battle," Lisa said quietly. "But they were right about one thing. This war is not over. The Council will not give up easily." Princess Lyralai joined Lisa at the viewing window. "Perhaps not, but they no longer face just a handful of human refugees. Today we proved that beings from many worlds can unite for a common cause." Zarathek approached the group with her usual direct manner. "The Saurian Dominion has fought alone for centuries. It feels strange to have so many allies, but it feels good. The Etherians have watched species rise and fall for millions of years," Vexillia added. "Never before have we seen such rapid cooperation between so many different forms of life." Lisa looked out at the mixed fleet patrolling around Haven. Human ships flew alongside Saurian warships, elven cruisers, Etherian energy constructs, and vessels from a dozen other species that had joined their cause. The exile that was meant to destroy humanity had instead created the foundation for something entirely new. "What do we call ourselves now?" Rebecca Stone asked. "We are no longer just human refugees." Lisa considered the question carefully. "We are the Galactic Alliance," she said finally. "And we are just getting started." The first phase of the war was over, but everyone knew greater challenges lay ahead. The old council would not accept defeat easily, and there were still many species who feared change. But on Haven and a dozen other worlds, beings who had never dreamed of working together were building a future that offered hope instead of fear. The revolution had begun, and there was no turning back. 2 years after the great battle at Haven, Admiral Lisa Morgan stood in the council chambers of New Harmony Station, the political center of what was now called the Galactic Alliance. Through the massive viewing windows, she could see ships from over 50 different species docked at the orbital platforms. What had begun as a desperate exile had grown into the largest democratic union in galactic history. "The vote is unanimous," announced the session moderator, a crystalline being from the Etherian collective. "Lisa Morgan is elected as the first Supreme Chancellor of the Galactic Alliance." Lisa felt the weight of responsibility settle on her shoulders, as representatives from dozens of worlds applauded. Beside her, Princess Lyralai Starweaver smiled warmly. Their relationship had grown from military cooperation to deep partnership both personally and politically. "I accept this honor," Lisa said to the assembled delegates. "But I want to be clear about what we are building here. This is not an empire built on conquest, but an alliance built on cooperation. Every species, every world, every being has a voice in our future." The transformation had been remarkable. After the councils failed, invasion, species after species, had abandoned the old authoritarian system to join the new alliance. The promise of equality and shared prosperity proved more attractive than the council's rigid hierarchy and fear-based control. Captain Amy Rodriguez, now promoted to admiral, commanded the Alliance Defense Fleet from her flagship. Her marriage to Celestine Moonwhisper had become a symbol of interspecies unity that inspired countless others. Their combined human-elven crews served as the model for integration throughout the Alliance military. "Amy, what is the status of the Liberation fleets?" Lisa asked during the daily briefing. 12 more star systems have requested Alliance protection from Council occupation forces," Amy reported. "We now have over 300 worlds under Alliance governance. The old Council controls less than half their former territory." Dr. Kate Williams had become the director of the Alliance Scientific Institute, working closely with researchers from every member species. Her romantic partnership with Vexillia had led to breakthroughs in cross-species communication and understanding that were revolutionizing galactic society. "Kate, how are the terraforming projects proceeding?" Lisa inquired. "Beyond our most optimistic projections," Kate replied enthusiastically. "The combination of human engineering, Saurian durability, Etherian energy manipulation, elven precision, and Hydran environmental knowledge has allowed us to create habitable worlds in record time. We have 40 new colonies under construction." The most remarkable change had come from the discovery of more ancient ruins on newly explored worlds. The mysterious builders had left technology throughout the galaxy, and the Alliance's cooperative approach seemed to be exactly what was needed to activate these systems. Rebecca Stone led the joint research team studying the ancient technology. Working with Ariana Silverdawn and engineers from every Alliance species, they had made discoveries that seemed like magic, even to advanced civilizations. The builders called themselves the Architects, Rebecca explained to the Council. They seeded the galaxy with technology designed to help younger species work together. Our Alliance is apparently the first group in millions of years to successfully activate their systems. The Architects themselves had been presumed extinct, but that assumption proved wrong when their actual representatives finally made contact. The meeting took place in the deepest chamber of the Haven ruins, with Lisa and representatives from each Alliance species present. The architect who appeared was unlike anything they had imagined. It seemed to be made of living starlight, constantly shifting between different forms and colors. When it spoke, the words appeared directly in their minds in whatever language they best understood. "Young Alliance builders," the architect communicated, "we have watched your progress with great interest. In all our time as guardians of galactic development, we have never seen such rapid cooperation between so many diverse species." "Are there others like you?" Lisa asked. "We are the last of our kind," the being replied sadly. "But through species like yours, our legacy continues. The technology we left behind is yours to use and improve. Build something better than what came before." The political changes were equally dramatic. The old Galactic Council had fractured completely, with some species joining the Alliance while others retreated into isolation. A few die-hard Council loyalists continued to resist, but they lacked the popular support needed for effective opposition. War leader Zarathek had established the Alliance Defense Corps, where former enemies trained together as protectors of peace. Her own romantic relationship with a human diplomat named Linda Hayes showed that even the most unlikely partnerships could flourish in the new galactic order. "The Saurian way has always been to test others through combat," Zarathek explained, "to new recruits from multiple species. But we have learned that the greatest strength comes from protecting those who cannot protect themselves." Commander Maya Foster had become the Alliance's chief military strategist, working closely with officers from every member species. Her partnership with the Saurian warrior Cathara had produced new tactical doctrines that combined the best aspects of different military traditions. Captain Nor Asha of the Hydran Collective led the massive infrastructure projects that were transforming underdeveloped worlds throughout Alliance space. Her aquatic engineering teams worked with human construction crews to build cities that could accommodate every type of biological need. "Water is life," Nor Asha often said, "but every species needs different environments to thrive. Our job is to build worlds where everyone can feel at home." The most touching changes were happening at the personal level. Interspecies relationships that had been impossible under Council law were now celebrated throughout Alliance space. Children grew up learning multiple languages and customs as the boundaries between different peoples gradually disappeared. Lisa and Lyrale's own relationship had evolved into a formal bond that represented the union of human determination and elven wisdom. Their joint leadership of the Alliance proved that different species could not only cooperate, but could genuinely love and understand each other. "Do you ever miss your old life?" Lyrale asked one evening as they watched the sunset from their private quarters on New Harmony Station. "Sometimes I miss the simplicity," Lisa replied honestly. "But I would not trade what we have built for anything. The exile that was meant to destroy us instead gave us the chance to create something wonderful." The Alliance now included over 200 star systems and continued to grow every month. Trade flowed freely between worlds while scientific cooperation advanced technology at an unprecedented rate. Cultural exchange programs allowed beings from different species to live and work together in ways that would have been unthinkable under the old Council system. But perhaps the most important change was in how people thought about themselves and others. The old divisions of us versus them were being replaced by a shared identity as Alliance citizens. Young humans grew up playing with elven children while Saurian and Etherian students studied together in integrated schools. 5 years after the exile, Lisa stood once again on the observation deck of a space station, but this time she was not watching refugees flee from persecution. Instead, she observed a massive celebration as the Alliance welcomed its 100th member species into the growing Union. Amy and Celestine approached with their young daughter, a child who would grow up in a galaxy where cooperation was normal rather than exceptional. Kate and Vexilia floated nearby, their research having unlocked technologies that benefited every Alliance world. "Admiral, we have a message from Earth," Amy reported with a smile. "The remaining Council loyalists there have voted to join the Alliance. Humanity's homeworld wants to become part of what we have built." Lisa felt tears in her eyes as she thought about how far they had come. The planet that had watched them leave as exiles now wanted to join the civilization they had, created among the stars. "Send them our terms," Lisa said. "Same as everyone else. Equality, democracy, and respect for all beings regardless of species or origin." Lyrelay took Lisa's hand as they watched ships from dozens of worlds celebrate together in the space around. New Harmony Station. "The Council thought they were getting rid of a problem when they exiled humanity," she said. "Instead, they created the solution to problems they never knew they had." Maya approached with news from the frontier regions. "Chancellor, our exploration fleets have made contact with 3 more advanced civilizations beyond the former Council borders. They are interested in Alliance membership." "What kind of species are they?" Lisa asked. "Unknown biological types," Maya reported. "But they have been watching our expansion and they like what they see. They want to be part of something that values cooperation over conquest." Rebecca and Ariana joined the group with their latest research results. "Chancellor, we have activated another architect facility," Rebecca announced. "This one appears to be some kind of galactic communication network. We could potentially make contact with species in other galaxies." Lisa looked around at her friends and allies, people from multiple species who had become family through shared struggles and triumphs. The exile that began with fear and desperation had led to discoveries and relationships beyond their wildest dreams. "The Alliance will continue to grow," she said finally. "But we must never forget the principles that brought us together. Freedom, equality, and the belief that our differences make us stronger rather than weaker." As the celebration continued around them, Lisa thought about the future. There would be new challenges and new opportunities as the Alliance expanded beyond their current galaxy. But whatever came next, they would face it together as equals and as friends. The empire they had built was not based on domination, but on invitation. Every species that joined made the Alliance stronger and more diverse. The humans who had been exiled as a threat to galactic order had instead become the founders of a new kind of civilization that welcomed everyone who believed in cooperation over conflict. The stars themselves seemed brighter now, full of possibilities that had never existed before in the long history of the galaxy. And at the center of it all, beings from dozens of worlds worked together to build a future worthy of their highest dreams.